I thought I had found a bargain. A quiet piece of land in a small southern town, sold to me by the heirs of a once powerful family, the Maddoxes. But the moment I stepped onto that soil, I could feel the weight of silence pressing down. Neighbors avoided eye contact. Old men stopped their conversations when I passed. And deep within the records, I uncovered payments made not to preserve memory, but to erase it. Why had the Maddox heirs been paid to forget? And what was it about this land that they never wanted seen again? The story begins with a man named Aaron, a young black teacher looking to start fresh after years of city life. He dreamed of peace, of growing vegetables, of owning something that no one could take from him. When he stumbled across an old estate being sold cheaply by the Maddox heirs, it felt like destiny. The Maddox family had once owned half the county, but now their descendants seemed eager to let the land go. At first, Aaron saw nothing unusual. The house was in ruins, but the land stretched wide, filled with oak trees whose roots twisted like ancient veins. It was the kind of property people passed down for generations. Yet here it was, in his hands. The townspeople were polite, but cold. Some whispered about old debts. Others simply said, not all land is worth owning. But Aaron ignored the unease. He had worked too hard to be deterred by rumor. He poured his savings into clearing brush, into fixing the fence, into trying to make the place a home. What he didn't yet know was that beneath the soil lay a story long buried, a story of racial violence, of silenced voices, and of a debt that no amount of money could erase. The first sign came when Aaron received the deed. A line caught his eye, an old clause, transferred with prior indemnities satisfied. Curious, he searched the county archives. There he found a series of payments stretching back decades. Large sums of money had been distributed quietly to the Maddox heirs, noted with cryptic descriptions. For silence, for peace, for closure. Aaron pressed further. Old newspapers revealed what the payments had bought: forgetfulness. In the late 1920s, the Maddox plantation had been the site of a brutal purge. Black sharecroppers who had organized for fair wages were accused of stealing, arrested, and vanished. Families left behind were told to keep quiet. Some were forced out of town. Others were never seen again. The more Aaron read, the clearer it became. This land wasn't simply abandoned. It was stained. Every Maddox heir had accepted payment to bury the memory, to ensure no investigation reopened the past. Soon after, strange encounters began. One neighbor, an elderly woman, slipped him a folded letter. Inside, in faded ink, was a list of names. At the top, those who never came home. She whispered only once, "Don't dig too deep. The earth remembers." At night, Aaron couldn't sleep. He heard the wind tearing through the trees, sounding like voices. The soil seemed darker in certain places, richer but unsettling. When he dug to plant a garden, he found rusted tools, chains, nails, fragments of broken wood. He realized this wasn't coincidence. He was uncovering the traces of a labor camp, one that had been hidden beneath the Maddox estate. Every strike of the shovel felt like peeling away another layer of silence. The tension in town grew sharper. People stopped greeting him altogether. A local official advised him to let the past stay buried. The implication was clear. His questions weren't welcome. But Aaron knew the land itself was telling him to keep going. And so he dug deeper, not just into the soil, but into the truth the Maddox heirs had been paid to erase. The breaking point came when Aaron uncovered the pit. Behind the tree line, beneath a mound of stone and weeds, he found sunken ground. As he cleared away, his shovel struck something that wasn't rock. It was bone, human remains. He froze, the silence of the forest pressing in on him. There was no mistaking it. This was no lone grave. It was a mass burial. Dozens, maybe more, hurriedly covered and forgotten. He could see the fragments of clothing, the bent nails of shackles, the evidence of lives erased. Suddenly, the payments made sense. The Maddox heirs hadn't been compensated for land. They had been compensated for silence. Generations had accepted money in exchange for never acknowledging the crime. Aaron stood over the pit, overwhelmed by the weight of history pressing against his chest. He realized this wasn't just a secret. It was a cover-up so deeply ingrained in the town's identity that no one dared speak it aloud. To bring it to light would mean tearing open wounds that had been forced shut for nearly a century. But he also knew this. To walk away would mean becoming complicit. Another voice swallowed by silence. Aaron contacted a historian, then the press. The discovery spread quickly, forcing the county to confront its buried past. The Maddox heirs denied knowledge, but the documents told otherwise. Payments, signatures, hush money that stretched across decades. The pit was examined, and the remains confirmed. Men, women, and children who had disappeared during the sharecropper uprisings. The revelation fractured the town. Some called Aaron a troublemaker, accusing him of stirring up old ghosts. Others, especially descendants of those who vanished, came forward in tears, finally seeing names and truths recognized. For Aaron, the land was no longer just property. It was a graveyard, a testimony, a piece of history that demanded to be remembered. Though he had sought peace, what he found instead was purpose. And so the story of the Maddox heirs was rewritten, not as wealthy landowners who prospered, but as beneficiaries of silence bought with blood. The lesson lingers. How many more lands across America carry stories like this? Hidden beneath the soil, erased by money, by shame, by denial? And when those stories surface, will we choose silence or remembrance?